Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to Overtime. And another topic atong isgutan karong adlaw. And for a starter, let's welcome Attorney Oscar S. Moreno. Sir, mayong hapon.
Maricel, good afternoon. Mayong hapon. And good afternoon, everyone. Mayong hapon sa tanan. And it's another day, another episode sa atong programa Overtime. And wow, ang atong topic karon is medyo outward looking, no? Outward looking and also on macro and micro levels, no? And I don't know kung sa inyong title that you thought of, no?
Yes.
I don't know inyong gan, but to me, I would say tourism in Cagayan and Misamis Oriental or Northern Mindanao.
Hotel,
ano ba ang hotels, domestic or international tourism, importante yan, no? So I don't want to deprive you, Sel, of the privilege of introducing our guest. Ang atong guest has become already a Cagayanon at heart, and even if he's not with us now, still ang iyang familiarity sa Cagayan and Northern Mindanao is quite notable. So Sel, please do the honors of introducing our special guest.
Yes, sir. And I think a lot of our people in Cagayan de Oro knows our guest, no? Although he's not here with us anymore kasi nasa ibang bansa siya. And we are talking to him via Zoom now. So yeah, he's a veteran of 40 years in the travel and hospitality industry with over 16 years in China as member of various pre- and post-opening hotel teams in numerous capacities such as front office manager, director of sales and marketing, executive assistant manager, and resident manager for well-rounded experience in hotel sales and operations management. And sa mga nakakakilala, he used to be with Limkit Kai Lux Hotel, and but he left for other hotels. And at present, he's the managing partner of 360 Hospitality and Lifestyle Solutions. And he used to be the general manager also of Kulay Springs, Berhad, Malaysia. And he's also the resident manager in 2005 to 2007 of Aqua Hotels and Resorts. And in 2004 to 2005, he was the executive assistant manager of Sofitel in Hainan Island, China. And he's also the, in 2002 to 2004, he's the general manager and Singapore for a general manager and sales manager for a Singapore and Malaysia based hotel. And this is, And in October 2000 to 2002, Novotel Atlantis in Shanghai, China. He was also then the director of sales and marketing. And in 1996 to 2000, he was the director for sales and marketing for Hilton International. And he was also the director of sales and marketing for Holiday Inn Crown Plaza. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Jerome de la Fuente. Welcome to Overtime, Sir Jerome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
Thank you, Jerome, for honoring us by accepting our invitation.
Wow.
And you know, the first time I met Jerome when he was here, ang apelido kasi de la Fuente Cel, no? The first thing that came to my mind was he must be from Manila.
Yeah.
There was a mayor in Manila then in the 60s or probably even earlier. De la Fuente ang apelido.
Yeah.
And in fact, a major street in the Sampaloc area has been named De La Fuente, no? In honor of Mayor De La Fuente. Not only that, ang later na ang I think tiyo or lolo niya or kapatid ng lolo
Lolo.
or father niya was Bobby De La Fuente himself, no? Si Bobby De La Fuente was one of the best lawyers the country had ever produced, no? Although he was in the private sector, but he was really, really very good, outstanding lawyer, and he was invited by many presidents to join the Supreme Court, no, but nobody succeeded. Pero kuhaan ka na si Jerome, kaya ang mga De La Fuente blood diya sa Manila, maraming yung talagang magagaling. So Jerome, you have you have decided to focus on hotel and travels, and you are now in Bangkok. Is that correct?
Yes,
And
working for a Thai company.
I'm sorry.
Working for a Thai company.
And the Thai company is, I'm sure, a big conglomerate that is into, among others, hotel and travels.
Yes.
And how are you doing there?
Well, pandemic, so a little slower than expected. Business in Thailand is also not the best, but we have guests coming in, and again, it's still, we're going to be by October 1. There's no more. We're going to be declared endemic.
So
pag endemic is freer to come in. We don't have any restrictions anymore.
Okay. And yeah, go ahead, please.
But the problem there is the other countries are still restricting. Like we are very dependent on the Chinese market. That's one of our biggest market. And it's also a market that everybody is dependent on. So until they open up and allow their citizens to travel, that's a chunk that's being taken out from the arrival figures. But we will be able to make it for this year. But of course, it's slower than 29 million. We make 29 million a year for arrivals.
Yeah. That's 29 million warm bodies.
Yes.
Wow.
Every year.
Wow. And of course, with it seems to me that China has decided to be very strict in their COVID rules, no? Even up to now, their lockdown is still the norm. But of course, China has proven to be quite successful as well, no? But how is it now in Thailand, or particularly in Bangkok?
Well, it's open city, even Pattaya and Phuket, where we have hotels. But one thing we lost also is the Russian market, because the Russian market normally stays 2 weeks minimum, and they don't go out, meaning they eat, they drink, they spend inside the hotel. It's the same formula that happened in China for the Russians, if in Boao, in Hainan Island. The minimum booking is 2 weeks. Now, this is a market that the Philippines should tap, particularly because they boost. I mean, the sale on beverage is very high as against food.
Yeah. How would you say the market, the tourists that go into Bangkok, how many are from Asia, or particularly from ASEAN, and then from North America and Europe and Middle East? Looks like you have some data there.
Yeah, the biggest for us is again European travel. It comprises about 36%. And then China gets about a slice of 35%. So you can imagine then the rest is already Asians.
Yeah.
The next one that's very strong with the Thai market as compared to the Philippines, which is in the middle of the sea. In Thailand, it's connected to Malaysia. So it's
That's
an
right.
easy access. That's why we have a problem, because we are in the middle of water as against Thailand, Singapore. You know, they're all connected by land. That's
Yeah,
a plus factor already. People can
yeah,
drive in. You can drive from Malaysia to Thailand.
that's correct. And even Cambodia and some other neighboring
Even
countries, no?
Indonesia.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why we have to work harder. The Philippines, the Philippine tourism team has to really be given more budget, because the budgets that are being used by Malaysia or even Thailand, these are the top two markets, Thailand and Malaysia. They're either one or two. Unfortunately, the Philippines is still number 9. So again, we need to push harder here, but we have to be given enough budget to make our presence felt. You know, during the COVID, the Thai tourism people were on the road. They were hosting cocktails or seminars outside of the country, and now they're developing India. We're going to be very strong in India
Yeah,
because of the flights. And I think Cagayan de Oro will have the Indians too via Davao. Hopefully this works,
yeah,
because they're
yeah.
the biggest now. In terms of population, it's China and India that will travel. And
Yeah,
at least,
lately India has gotten more active, no,
yes,
in the international community of nations, no, and
yes,
uh, yeah, yeah, and also India has improved relations with many other countries as well, no, and so you also consider the Indian market as getting more vibrant in the coming years?
yeah, especially the young generation who loves to
Mm.
travel. Like for instance, in Singapore, when I was GM in Singapore, I wanted to hit the Indian market only because the old people I mean, the more older you get, they don't travel as much as compared to the newlyweds. So we did a package to do two things: weddings in Singapore and medical tourism in Singapore, because medicals is very not so good as well as Singapore, right?
Oh,
So those
oh.
were the two markets we opened. And because I was a core, then I had a better cloud. That's a difference when you're working for an international chain. You have a lot of support from the chain, as against you're working for a standalone.
Mm, mm.
Like when I was with Limket Kai, I had to do double time because I wanted to put Cagayan de Oro in the map,
Yeah.
because again, Mindanao is always an issue. So I said, we don't carry Mindanao, we carry Cagayan de Oro, so that they don't know at the end of the day where is it yet, and then they will discover when they already inquire for the booking. It's a
That was
strategy.
that was what Cebu did
One, yeah.
about a little more over a decade ago now. But
Yes,
then Cebu had succeeded because Cebu is an island, no?
yes,
An island in the Pacific, and
yes.
yeah. So how would anyway, Jerome? Given your experience in international hotels, no, particularly here in ASEAN, to include Asia, and what would be if you were, for instance, if the Secretary of Tourism, who is from Cebu, would consult you, what would be the first things that would come to your mind?
I would improve our product, because that is the starting point. So the
Uh-huh.
infrastructure should be there, because we have nice beaches, but it's not promoted well because of infrastructure issues.
Mhm.
You know, everybody thinks of Boracay, but that's the height. You know, in Mindoro, there's also Puerto Galera, but it just
Yes.
died down because the infrastructure is not there. If you go to Puerto Galera, it's still very, unless you really want to go to the antique, the antiquated stuff, then yes, Puerto Galera is nice because you still have to, electricity has an issue. Unlike Boracay, everything is there. Now, to me, the next one to really promote is Mindanao, because Mindanao has never been pushed. I don't want to be saying that, Mindanao has a lot of nice places, but because of certain issues, they're not being promoted as much. But to me, there is a lot of opportunity in Mindanao. It's the land of opportunity. There's so much money you can do if you are just smart. Money even in the back, even in Cagayan de Oro. Cagayan de Oro should be positioned as the gateway, really. And that's, I've always been making noise. When I was offered a job in Davao, I could not accept it because, I've always said, no, Cagayan de Oro is the gateway and Davao is, what. So I had to turn down that offer because I really want Cagayan de Oro to shine. First, Cagayan de Oro is the hub. It's the educational hub of Mindanao. All the good universities are there. So we capitalize on that. In other words, when Rotoras was still alive, we were working on a special program to start doing foreign students, because this will give a color to the city. It becomes more cosmopolitan. Unfortunately, we did not push through with that project. So that's one unfinished project for me.
The successor of Dr. Rotoras, Dr. Cultura, who is also from Misamis Oriental, has been quite active in fact, pushing for the development of the 280-hectare property in Alubihid. There was that property that was set aside way back during GMA's time. But anyway, I know that they had been talking with some Japanese groups, spearheaded by the Consul General of Japan for Mindanao, no? But and I hope that the discussion would continue with the involvement of DOST, DTI for product enhancement, and hopefully we could also attract Japanese investors for in the USTP property in Alubihid. Now, Jerome, over the past 6 years, we had a Philippine president who is from Mindanao, and to his credit, a lot of infrastructure had been done, although of course many still are needed. No, but the build program has substantially benefited Mindanao. People now have access to many other places in Mindanao that used to be inaccessible. And not only that, the peace process has moved forward, which was started way back in the time of President Pinoy. No? President Duterte continued with that and even pushed it harder. And it is hoped that President Marcos, Bongbong Jr., would push further the peace process here in Mindanao. After all, to the credit of his parents, the Tripoli Agreement was signed during the time of his father and with the initiative of his mother. No? So it seems to me that hopefully the peace process would be implemented and successfully done here in Mindanao. And hopefully that would help address some concerns that I'm sure many have in mind. No, I remember, Jerome, in my first month as mayor of Cagayan de Oro, we had a bombing in downtown, no, and that was really very devastating. So I think it's now it's very important that the peace process for Mindanao will be implemented. The agreement has been signed, the law had been put in place. Now we are on the implementation stage. Although implementation can take some time, no? But hopefully we will succeed in achieving some milestones. Having said that, let me ask you, what do you think would be the encouraging signs that we would like to see for Mindanao in general and for Northern Mindanao and Cagayan de Oro in particular?
Well, when he was campaigning for vice president, he would stay with us, and he's my classmate in LaSalle. So I told him pointers that I've seen that needs improvement, and he should get involved if he ever, gets to become a VP. Because of course, Duterte made a decision to run was at Linketkai, and really he said, okay, I will really run. I'm not crowdsourcing anymore. So I told him, these are the things, they never promoted Mindanao. And, Mindanao is the land of opportunity. The mere fact that it's never been promoted, there's so much opportunity to make money, but we need investments to come in. Whether it becomes a Filipino investor or a foreign investor, whichever way, I said, you need to relax the investment climate, because that's the reason why you have so many bureaucracy in the government. That's why they're so afraid what will happen to their money when they have come in already. It's nice to talk to them, but it's the implementation arm that needs to be done. And I'm only asking you this not because I'm staying and managing this hotel, but because that's one reason why I accepted this assignment in Mindanao, because I wanted to see how I can help in my own little way to promote that Mindanao is a safe place. It's not a haven of hoodlums, but it's everywhere. There is even in Manila, you have a lot of them. It's just you don't highlight it. Here, the problem here in Mindanao, it just rains, everything is blown out of proportion. And I said, this is one thing you need to look at. I think you should even go to Marawi. If I can broadcast my show in Marawi, you can go to Marawi. I will make sure you are safe. I will tell you where to run when things go wrong. You need to meet the Dimaporos and the Adyongs because they can help you. Cotabato, let's do it some other time, but please concentrate first in Northern Mindanao. At least you have some platform to start with. And I hope he will. The mere fact now that he wants Mindanao promoted, starting with Cagayan de Oro, to me, that's a sign that it's moving forward. Because if you promote a city, more than usual, investments will come. And I'm really going for it. I will be there in October. We have a meeting with, I have a meeting with the Limket guys. So let's see what happens from there.
Yeah. And October is less than a month away.
Yes. Yes. They're pushing me to finally say what I want to do. Actually, I don't want to do any hotel anymore. I want to do some other projects. But unfortunately, nobody wants to tap my services. They think I can only do hotel.
What will make you interested in agriculture?
That's one of the areas we're pushing. Farm tourism, agritourism.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with Calyado, when he was still the boss.
Collado.
And now he's back there. I told him to push for it. Sites for farm tourism, because that is what, when we did a project with ATOP, which is the Organization of Tourism Officers, I told them, I don't want anyone to give city tour. Why? They can find their city tour later on. I want them to experience Cagayan de Oro. I want them to feel it, meet the people. Then that is more experience for them when they can talk about it for ages. and I think I was able to do so with that. I brought them to all the CITEM awardees. They made their own pottery. They made their own paper lantern, and and I
Yeah.
guess it has gone up. So now they're still trying to see how they can compete with Cagayan de Oro in terms of creativity in that particular event. But
Yeah.
we just have to do something. We have to be creative. There's always a way. I always believe in that. We just have to tap the people, and they will come out doing well.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, actually, agriculture is really the strength of Mindanao. And
Yes.
not only for our food security program, but also for livelihood and, of course, certainly tourism, no? And yeah, hopefully the government will uh, at- attain more successes in the field of addressing the root causes of the insurgency.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
hopefully, because that's when by addressing the root causes of insurgency, new doors are opened in the what you call the GIDAS,
Yes.
geographically isolated and depressed areas. And this is also one area where the connectivity, the build program of the government is also focused on. No? So now we are hearing about connecting Calabugao Plains and the areas, the LGUs around it. No? And hopefully up there in the mountains, you can go to any direction from wherever you are without having to go back to the main highway. So connectivity is also very important. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can. I mean, for instance, the establishment of Cagayan de Oro as the hub is
Mm.
very important. Why?
Mm-mm.
Because we have, again, a lot of children of people from Cagayan are coming to Manila. There is no job here. The job is
Mm.
right there in Cagayan de Oro.
Mm.
All we need to do is, of course, talk to the BPOs and kumbaga is
Yeah.
ligawan sila to come to Cagayan de
Yeah.
Oro so that the students that will graduate will have a job right away. Yes, we may not like it, but to keep
Yeah.
them busy. That's one of the most important. And I think
Yeah.
the formula is there in Cagayan de Oro.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, we have already made it to the next wave cities category,
Yes.
and hopefully the next target, the next mission would be to hit the excellence category, no?
Center of excellence.
In terms of BPOs. And of course, the infrastructure is in place, but of course, there may still be need for some improvement somewhere. Education is in place, and peace and order also is I would say very good. No, so these are the things that investors look for BPO, and uh, we are also seeing now new uh, new condominium projects from the major real estate companies, no, and of course, with that, there may be again new entries of cold chain facilities and things like that. No, given the location of Cagayan de Oro as as you've said, the hub. No, we are right in the middle of the upper half of Mindanao. No, and a good logistics facility venue or situs. No, so things are looking quite encouraging, and I hope you'll continue to help promote Cagayan de Oro and Mindanao, Jerome.
Will
And
do.
soon, I hope that because you have many friends here.
Yes.
You have many
Yeah.
friends here, and you have made actually your stay here in Cagayan de Oro has raised the level of expectation, no, in regard to hotel operations and strategies, and so you are now in Bangkok, and when was the last time you came to Cagayan de Oro?
In 2019, I went for the Kohara,
Uh-huh.
Kumbira. That was the last. They flew me in, and that was the last. And I've not gone back at any time.
Yeah, we
Another issue, Mayor, is
uh,
that I'm really pushing for the airport.
yeah,
The airport to me is the most important because it's the first
yes,
thing that the tourists will see and the last thing the tourists will see. It's the
yes,
same formula I use in the hotel. The front office is the first greeting, so the guard,
yeah,
the doorman, and then they will also be the last. I don't want them to leave with a bad taste. So to me,
yes,
we really have to push for the airport. After all, there is still available land, and it will also open. When the former general manager was there, we already conceptualized what we will do. I mean, we already know where the international terminal is. We know where the domestic terminal, the cargo will be pushed further, and that's it. But
yeah, yeah,
unfortunately, he was replaced. That's one area we need to push, that airport, because it
yeah,
is an Ayala project that they gave that area. We need to pursue because next to that we'll also have an business. And then
yeah,
of course when you were the mayor, you sent me to some of your schools, and along the way I saw your dam site. And this is another issue, and I think you made a project on the dam site because
yeah,
now
yeah,
it's greening. This is the climate change is the big issue we also have. So
yes,
hopefully this can be addressed.
yeah. The dump site has already been closed, thanks God,
Yes.
no? And we now have a sanitary landfill. Now, in the airport, you are right. It needs upgrading, and we are just waiting for national government to continue with the project of expanding it. Expansion would mean lengthening of the runway from 2.1 to about 3.5 kilometers, and of course the terminal would have to be expanded. And then I have learned that Ayala is very much keen in pursuing with their plan of establishing what they call the Habini Bay in that area. So it would be like a techno park, which they have done somewhere in Laguna, in Luzon, in the recent past. No? So we hope that this administration would continue to push for the upgrading of the airport. I agree with you that it's really a pity because the airport is of international standards. Unfortunately, the length of the airport is 2.1 kilometers, and so it could not accommodate wide bodies, and even containerized flights could not be accommodated as well. So the shipment of goods, high value goods, would hardly be possible given the limitations we now have. But certainly that's at the top, hopefully at the top of the agenda of this administration. Yeah. Sel?
Yeah. Sir Jerome, Na-mention ni Attorney
Yes.
Oka kanina, it's about the condos. It's sprouting rapidly here in Cagayan de Oro. And I think it's because its rentability features is getting more popular. Will that affect the revenues for the hotels or hindi naman? Kasi marami nang
No.
they would opt to rent condominiums instead of hotels. I don't know if
No.
that makes
There
sense.
is still a market for, as a matter of fact, if you notice, there are a lot of new hotels in Cagayan de Oro. Suddenly, it's sprouting. There is still a market because the condominium will only be for the leisure market. If you're attending meetings, that's why we want to strengthen that meeting business. We want to bid for big meetings because first we have the formula. I remember when the late Nene Pimentel came to me and asking me, can you join me? I said, for what? His convention center. I said, you sure? I said, no, I can help you. But because here in Cagayan de Oro, we have already the atrium. All we need to do is really clean it up. Then we have the hotels here. So we first have to strengthen this. Of course, that has to be promoted. But the distance, you need to do something about it with the, the road. It cannot be saying, oh, where is this convention center? Well, you don't even know where. And I told him, who's going to absorb the costs from the hotel to the convention center? I said, it's nice. You really catch them, but don't forget, people go to a convention to see the city. I want them to wander around because every time the hotel, I remember when one day we were busy and yet you don't see guests outside. There is a sari-sari store across at the USTP in that Pasilio. Came to me and I said, asking me if the hotel is empty. I said, no, we're full. And I said, why are you saying this? Then he said, because I don't have people buying. I wonder why. I said, because these are doctors. They're not going to buy your cigarettes. That's for sure. So that's when I had the initiative to really pursue it. Because if they're busy, wala akong krimen sa area ko. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All I need to improve is the flooding.
Yeah, flooding can also be is also a very important issue, and at least our national government has been undertaking major flood control programs near Limketkay. Now there's a project going on.
Yes.
And that project has been delayed for almost, I would say, almost a decade, no? But at long last, it has started. And you also have the embankment along Cagayan River, both sides of Cagayan River, that would be completed hopefully by early next year, if not late this year. Now, you mentioned the convention center. Incidentally, you might want to know that the most recent project undertaken by the DPWH had been completed already, although there are still probably some minor fine-tunings that would be needed. But in the meantime, CHESA, the tourism agency, has agreed to already turn over the convention center to the city, and I think some further fine-tunings may have to be made. In the meantime, I'm aware of the problem as far as the access road is concerned. It's quite stiff, no? So in the meantime, the city, together with DPWH, had undertaken a road opening project that would connect the site of the Court of Appeals, the future Court of Appeals, and the convention center. So the road would not be as stiff as the main road. And of course, I'm sure in the near future, there will be more roads that would lead to the convention center. And I think, Jerome, more and more people are now getting interested in acquiring some lands around the convention center.
That's good revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody, yeah.
Quite encouraging, in fact. Yeah, Sel.
Sir Jerome, somebody is greeting you here sa atong live streaming. Hi, Jerome. So nice to see you. Hope to see you in October. From Miss Julie Ang.
Ay, okay.
Yan ang mga fans.
Ay, mga fans. Mga,
No,
mga
I
suki.
mean, there's a lot of, as I've always told, I had a heavy heart leaving. You know that
I
when we
know.
were together in Cebu. But, you have to weigh. I wanted to venture into something else, to get a break from, and I guess working with another international conglomerate also gives me an opportunity to learn more. And that's my philosophy. I want to learn and keep on, and then I will offload it in Cagayan de Oro. Whatever I learn outside, I offload it there. So one of the things is upskilling the staff. Like now finally I was able to arm twist somebody to sponsor the MICE meeting. I mean the MICE workshop. Now I'm twisting her for another one, the last one, the 103. So hopefully the employees or the people in the industry are equipped to compete with the not other countries, but within the country we are competing with other destinations.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So, wow.
Yeah. Oo.
Wow. So I heard that with your since you're working for a big conglomerate that has presence in the Middle East, in Europe, in North America, you are having difficulty with your time, Jerome?
Yeah, still. Yeah, because Thailand is 1 hour behind. But the son of the owner, I brought him to Palawan.
You did? Good.
I already told him somebody wants to sell his island, so we looked at it, and slowly I will bring him to Mindanao. It's just that he has to be, it's his first time to travel to the Philippines, so I don't want to shock him first right away. But I told his father that I hope he can invest in the Philippines.
Jerome, let me ask you this, no? You've been here for about 4 years or a little
Yes,
over
4 years.
4 years, no? And you have really engrossed yourself with Cagayan de Oro, and given the operations of the hotel, you have come to know people from the region. What was your best experience here in Cagayan de Oro?
Well, the thing that when I took over the hotel wasn't making good. So I started to train them on standards. At the same time, give them enough training that I can give. And then I decided to raise the rate and then attack the Manila market because I wanted to uplift the rates. Because if I can bring up the rates, all the hotels in the area will. And plus, I'm giving a lot of opportunity for the retailers, especially the small ones, that they can get business out of our guests. And I think we've done that. We've contributed to that already. But I still want to pursue, to make it really a destination. When you say Cagayan de Oro, it's the destination. Not like what now we always are second to another destination. You, as I said, you enter via Cagayan de Oro and you exit via another city down there in the south of Mindanao. And hopefully with the developments with the Chinese embassy consulate in Davao and the consulates are opening in Davao, we can extract business from them. I think we just have to be very aggressive. There must be a concerted effort, at least for the Oro Chamber to come in really this time, to really push for it. I mean, there you have Bigafria there, you have the who's who in the Oro Chamber. I think we should, I gave him a marketing plan, what to do for the city and for the Oro Chamber, projects for Oro Chamber before I left. So hopefully they will, and I'm gonna come back to them in October and I'll ask them what happened to that plan. I really want to pursue it this time, my
Yeah.
second time around.
Okay. Yeah, Sel.
Yeah. Sir, after the pandemic, do you think there are still specific measures that the hotel industry should put in place in its hotels, or we're back to normal?
Well, as soon as if we declare endemic by the end of the year, the emergency power is gone, everything will go to as normal. But of course, as I said earlier, we need to sell the city and in the properties that the city is safe, meaning we are all vaccinated and I'm for vaccination and booster shots. I will keep on making noise on this. You get two vaccination plus two booster shot. Why? Because you're opening the country already. So that you are, if ever something happens, you don't jeopardize the healthcare. Yes, we have universal healthcare, and that's why we have an issue. Another thing that we want to push is in my case, I want to push medical tourism because we have all the facility, whether it be in the provincial or the city or the private, especially with the two new hospitals that came up. We have an opportunity to sell that Cagayan de Oro is the medical hub. So people from Mindanao will come to Cagayan de Oro to have their treatment. I mean, I just have to sit down with some people, arm twist them to think my way.
Yeah.
And come October, they will get it from me.
Yeah. Actually, Northern Mindanao Medical Center has already gone higher from its previous level, and it's getting still higher. And in fact, there's now, I think, another plan to build another building, to construct another building to replace an old building. So specialization, specialty cases are now being handled. Heart, kidney, etc. No? And we're happy that Cagayan de Oro, particularly Northern Mindanao Medical Center, has reached the level of what I would call an apex hospital, not just for Northern Mindanao, but for the upper half of Mindanao. No? So, and I'm glad the president also mentioned in his SONA that he would like to see specialty hospitals being put up in various cities and provinces nationwide, and certainly Cagayan de Oro will be one of them.
Yeah, that's a dream to me to make it a
Yeah.
medical hub, but I
Yes.
still have to work on it. I mean, I don't know how, but that's how I want. I mean, I feel that Cagayan de Oro should be positioned. In other words,
Yeah.
people from all over Mindanao don't have to go all the way down to Manila because
That's
it's
right.
already in Cagayan de Oro.
Oh.
A lot of things can be done, but of course, I need people. You need funding. How do we get
Yeah.
this funding? That is an issue that
Yeah.
who will buy the idea. You invest in the hospital and your returns are like this. I still
Yeah.
need to figure this out, how we can get more money for people to invest, because it's cash. I mean, it's really, you have to invest. Equipments
Yeah.
are more expensive, especially now that the dollar has gone up. It's going to be very hard to acquire. So we need to probably work with the embassies to see how we can get grants, probably, so
Yeah.
that we get the equipments cheaper. Like for instance, Germany,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
we usually source it out, and Japan. So these are the two suppliers. Well, China for the equipment or the
Yeah.
instruments. So we don't know. It's a lot of legwork to be done, and there must
Yeah.
be somebody who is very dedicated to do this, because this can float after a while. Yeah, it's a nice idea, but no one is following it up.
Actually, Northern Mindanao Medical Center during the pandemic, especially during the surge, has shown its capacity to take care of severe cases, not just in the region, but even from Caraga and Zamboanga Peninsula. So we have seen that Northern Mindanao Medical Center has become an apex hospital in the upper half of Mindanao. And hopefully, talking about equipments and because we have the personnel, no, doctors from here in Northern Mindanao and from Mindanao, and I hope the Department of Health would really work harder in providing the equipment to our specialty hospitals in the regions, no? And like I said, Cagayan de Oro is well positioned already to absorb or to reach that level.
Even the J. Borja, your hospital, your city
Yeah.
hospital, apparently it's been improved now.
Yeah.
So that is already a plus factor. Expanding it, getting all the equipments, first class equipment, then we
Yeah.
can sell it as a destination, because these
Yeah.
are the areas that we can. I mean, the city makes money. One is taxes, and people are happy because the surrounding area is busy. It's quiet. I mean, there's especially the micro or the small medium enterprises will benefit a lot.
Yeah. And we have also done the Lumbia Hospital, and there's another hospital that is nearing completion, and that is the Tablon Hospital. But this will be smaller compared to Northern Mindanao Medical Center. But hopefully, the simpler cases would be absorbed by these smaller hospitals to pave the way for Northern Mindanao Medical Center being able to take care of the more serious and specialty cases. So it has worked well during the pandemic. At one point, no hospital was willing, at the start of the pandemic, no hospital was willing to accept any COVID positive patient. And I'm glad Northern Mindanao Medical Center stood up and said that they will take care of these positive cases. No, but that action of NMMC was also met by the cooperation, the support extended by all other hospitals, including the city, in absorbing the minor cases that used to be entertained by Northern Mindanao Medical Center. So even at that stage, we already had some grounds covering, or let me put it this way, the universal healthcare system was getting the first taste of implementation here in Cagayan de Oro. And your plan is certainly very, very noble, and it's something that certainly would be welcome, not just to Cagayan de Oro, but to Northern Mindanao. Jerome.
Yes. Hopefully, when I get there, I can start moving it.
Yeah. So better make it soon. So
I will be visiting.
Yes.
But I have to comment. Your hair has gone all white already.
Stress.
Oh, pareho na kayo.
Yes. Yung edad ko lumalabas na.
But it looks nice on you. Maganda. Maganda ang dating.
Thank you.
Maganda ang dating.
So you didn't have it colored, sir?
No, this is real na. This is natural. After all those years.
Mabuti nga yan kaysa yung wala ng buhok.
Well, yeah. Yes.
Pareho na
Yes.
kayo ng buhok ni Mayor.
Oo, kaya nga. But
Okay.
yeah, I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I left.
Yeah, and I'm sure many will be excited to see you again. Not only from the hotel, also Kohara and many of your friends here from the business sector, and many, many other friends that you have gained over the years here in Cagayan de Oro and Northern Mindanao. So
Yes.
you might want to say your
Yeah.
parting words, Jerome.
My the swan.
Before you do that, let me thank you again. Thank you very much for honoring us with your accepting our invitation. And I'd like to thank you also for sharing your thoughts on Cagayan and Northern Mindanao and Mindanao also in general.
It's a
So, Jerome,
pleasure.
your parting words, please.
Well, I look forward to working with people again that can bring up and uplift the image of Cagayan de Oro further, push it further, and at the same time to establish that, as I said, I always love this word hub, because to me it will generate revenue for the city, it will generate employment, which is how we can alleviate poverty. If we keep them busy, people are willing to invest, then everything is hunky-dory already. I mean, to me, itself, that's ideal, but I can't. But I look forward to working with people and pursuing my dream of making Cagayan de Oro really as a hub of Mindanao. It's very ambitious, but I'm willing to work on it.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jerome. Yes, attorney.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sir. Jerome, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a
Very
pleasure.
heartwarming, very heartwarming for one who is a Manila boy, grew up in Manila, to be committed to help Cagayan de Oro. It's really, really very heartwarming. And thank you for the friendship. Thank you for your love for Cagayan de Oro and its people. And to our guests, to our Suki,
Yeah.
not just here in Cagayan de Oro, but everywhere. Thank you very much. Another good, what I would say, and very, very promising discussion with Jerome de la Fuente. And thank you for joining us. And we hope that you could join us again tomorrow. And stay safe, everyone. Good afternoon to you all.
Yes, thank you very much, attorney. And Sir Jerome, thank you again. And to all our viewers, thank you for joining us this afternoon until our next episode here at Overtime. Kini si Maricel Casiño Rivera. Maayong hapon kaninyong tanan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerome, thank
Thank
you.
you.
See you.
I'll see you.